Graham here, living the dream in 2022. We're still at the lake house on Lake 27 near Gaylord in northern Michigan. As you can see, the lake is still frozen solid. It is 0 degrees Celsius today, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. I know I'm in a t-shirt, it is blooming cold. It is Friday morning and you have just seen the sun rise over the lake. It is the first week of April. It's overcast. It would be a lot better if we could see moving cloud and the sun rising. Unfortunately, that's not to be on this day in April. So today is Friday and we are heading down to Detroit. Fiona and I are going to be staying with Phil's sister in Rochester Hills for the next couple of days before we fly down to Nashville in Tennessee. So come and join Fiona and I, Phil and Gail, for the first part of the day as we head back down to Detroit, Michigan. And I believe we're actually going into Detroit this afternoon, a city I've been to many times, but I've actually never been into the city and down on the waterfront next to where the GM building probably still is today. And across the river is, of course, Windsor, Ontario in Canada. So going to be an interesting day, and Fiona and I are really looking forward to it. Enjoy. According to the sat-nav, the journey down to Detroit, Michigan from Gaylord was going to take a little over 3 hours. But on the positive side, it wasn't raining, but it was still absolutely freezing, and we would hope to be leaving the snow behind here in northern Michigan as we headed south to MoTown, USA, of course, Detroit. I should explain that we're joining the I-75 freeway here in northern Michigan, and this freeway we would see again when we visited Tennessee the following week, because the I-75 runs from north to south, starting in Sault Ste. Marie in the northern peninsula of Michigan and goes all the way down to Miami in Florida, passing close to Knoxville, Tennessee, where we will be next week. And if you're wondering where the girls are, well, they're actually following behind us in Gail's car, which had been undergoing some maintenance at a dealership in Gaylord. But we would be meeting up with Fiona and Gail very shortly as we stopped for a bite of lunch before hitting the I-75 again in some torrential rain as we continued our journey south to Rochester Hills in the Detroit suburbs. But the weather cleared up as we exited the freeway en route to Phil's sister's house, Denise. And that evening we went in to Detroit city centre for the first time and enjoyed a fantastic Italian with Denise, her daughter Jacqueline and her boyfriend, before we headed to the Monarch Club for some drinks and some awesome views of downtown Detroit. Fiona, yeah. Don't jump.
Okay, I won't.
And after drinks at the Monarch Club enjoying views over downtown Detroit, we headed down to the waterfront next to the GM building and stared across the river towards Windsor, Ontario. And this is where we bring Friday and our last full day in Michigan to a close. And it's at this point we'd like to take this opportunity to thank Denise and our daughter Jacqueline for taking the time out of their Friday night to show us downtown Detroit. Good morning from Rochester Hills in the outskirts of Detroit, Michigan. Today is where we move to the second part of our two-step two states series, where we're flying down to Nashville in Tennessee. That's all going to come in the next episode, but for this episode we're going to take a trip into Rochester Hills this morning. We want to see what there is to see, and then we'll go to head out to the airport, which of course is going to be in the next episode. So let's go and see what Rochester Hills, Michigan has to offer. Enjoy. Our plan this morning was very simple. In preparation for our flight down to Nashville from Detroit this afternoon, we had packed our cases into the boot, or should I say the trunk, of Denise's car. And we were off to see what Rochester, the local town here, had to offer before we headed back to the airport for our flight down to Nashville at 4 p.m. And as you can see, the community that Denise lives in is full of really gorgeous houses. And the one thing that I have noticed over the years travelling to the USA is that homes in the suburbs of the city tend to come with a lot more ground, and their gardens and lawns don't tend to be fenced off as we would see here in the United Kingdom. And the other thing that we learned is that the Rochester Hills area and the wider Detroit metropolitan area offers excellent value. And despite the economic downturn that the Detroit area has seen over the last 2 decades, Fiona and I saw absolutely no evidence of this as we made our way through this beautiful suburb of Detroit. And this, guys, is Meadowbrook Hall, built by Dodge Automotive between 1926 and 1929. And according to Wikipedia, it is actually classified as an American castle. It was originally donated by the Dodge family to fund the University of Michigan Oakland campus, known today as Oakland University. But please, guys, don't confuse this with Oakland, California, because this is Michigan. And the beautiful lush grounds that you're seeing here are all part of the university campus. So right now we're going to continue our journey into Rochester past these gorgeous suburban homes before approaching the outskirts of the city itself. And yes, guys, the car still plays a massive part of this motortown city part of the United States known as Detroit. Public transport is nearly non-existent, but this tends to be a sad reality in the United States outside the northeastern corridor between Washington, New York, and of course Boston. And here we are approaching the city of Rochester in Oakland County, Michigan, situated 20 miles north of downtown Metro Detroit. And continuing my quest for knowledge via Wikipedia, the 2010 census had the population of Rochester, Michigan at 12,711. I'm going to therefore make an assumption that a decade later, I'm guessing that the 2020 census, or whatever census was carried out around 2020, would have the population of Rochester, Michigan at even more, due to improvements in the local economy. Right, we're going to go and park up and take a walk through this very interesting little town. And before you give me any abuse in the comment section below, I know that Rochester is a city and not a town, but our definition of a city on this side of the Atlantic is obviously very different. Oh dear, looking back at my video content as I edited this episode, I realised that I didn't actually take much video when Fiona, Denise and I were walking around the streets of Rochester. So this means we're now back in the car heading towards Detroit Metro International Airport to catch our 4 o'clock Delta down to Nashville. So if you want to continue to follow Fiona and I as we move into the second half of our two-state series, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon to be notified when our next video is published, which for this series will be 8 AM British Summer Time every Thursday. So until that next video, when Fiona and I will be doing a pure trip report on board Delta Airlines in Comfort Plus on board one of the Airbus A319s from here in Detroit down to Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you so much for watching.